the first part of the class, we are going to go over the presentations, and I will try to use your presentations today, especially the first few ones, to make some comments. So we learn, see, we do the homework because we want to learn something, right? Not just come here to try to get a grade, or I try to not give you a grade. It's not about that. It's about you try to learn something from what you have done. And all of us learn from other people's mistakes or other people's what they have done well. So this is our plan. After you make your presentation, because we don't have that many students in this class, it's easier for me to teach you better. So I will go over your presentation and I will mention some points that are good, because next week you have another presentation to make, and then after that is the final. The midterm. So we are doing this to get you ready for the midterm. That's the final goal. Right? That's the purpose until midterm. So listen to what I have to say about your classmates' presentation. And if you think that's also your problem, then you can take care of it. If they did something good, you can learn from them. And so this way, we get better and better. So please bring those papers and give it to me. Let me get myself set up here. Thank you. So I have put all the presentations in that folder, presentation folder, and even though those of you who I picture the one from today, all the presentations are here, so you can find your name and your PowerPoint. I'm going to get my phone as a timer and sit here. So that's the first part for today. After we finish the presentation, we take a break, and then in the second part of the class, I'm going to go over your proposals that you wrote for the midterm, one-on-one. After I'm done talking to you about your proposals, then we are finished for today. The purpose of writing the proposal is to get you thinking about the midterm earlier, so we don't wait to the last minute. Also, I want you to get used to in writing and following the format, because most of the time when you go to do any kind of application or you go to work for a company, you want to write a research paper for your graduation, there's always a certain format you have to follow. And so I wanted to see how well or how good you are in following a format, only one-page format. So I will be talking to you about the format of your proposal and also the content. We will have a one-on-one conversation. If everything is okay, you can choose that topic for the midterm. But if you decide to change it, I'm okay too, because we said for the midterm you have 3 choices, right? One choice is this presentation if you like it. Another choice is next presentation if you like it. and the third choice is the new, totally new one, right? So if you still would to like to change the topic for the midterm, just let me know that you have changed it, and I'm okay with that. Just wanted to get you thinking on the midterm a little earlier and see how you do, and also try to give you some extra points. Every assignment you turn in, like the PowerPoints you turn in on time, that's 100 points. Every homework I give you, like the proposal, if you turn it on time, that's 100 points. Now, if there is some problem with the format, I will ask you to redo it and resubmit again. So it's just a way to help you also to get some easy points for me to see how on time you are, because that's another point of being a good manager or being in the school of management. You have to be respecting time and follow the timeline. Okay? Do you have any questions before we get started? No questions? Do I have any volunteer as the first presenter? Nobody wants to be the first presenter? All right. Let me then ask you to pick one of these to be the first one. Choose one of these, whichever you want. All right. Who is it? Not you? Okay, Pat. Pat is the first one. After Pat is Michael. After Michael will be Kusuma. And then we go on. So the presentation time is set 4 to 5 minutes. I'm going to keep time in here. Do I need to let you know when it's 4 minutes, or is it more nervous if I tell you? Do you want me to keep the time, or you can keep your time? I think you can keep your own time if you want to bring your phone and keep your own time, because sometimes, generally when you are making in a presentation or competition, there's always a timekeeper, and it will be din done when it's a minimum, and then there's the warning and so on. But I don't want to make you more nervous, and I think you should be able to keep your own time. If you're worried about the time, then just bring your own phone and keep the time. And I will not say anything, I just write down your time in here. So it would be, so you know how long it took. If you have practice, then you should know how long the presentation is going to take. If you are late, you need to come and pick one of these papers and fill it out and give it to me. Seems like you're ready. Very ready, right?
No.
You look very ready, so that's good. That's very easy. Okay, whenever you want, you can start.
Hello, my name is Pen. Today I will going to introduce about inflation. Before we start, let me ask you a question. Did you know your money get halved in half every 35 years? It was shock, it is. Today I will let you know how inflation is related to this problem. I will divide it into 3 topics. First was what. You will know what inflation is. And the second is why. Why that happened. And the third was how. How can inflation affect us? Let's start with the first part. What is inflation? it means increase amount of money in circulation, but it also means that overall price level continue to rise. You might think, what am I talking about? Don't worry, I don't know either. It's too complicated to say. Let's keep it simple. Your money is getting valueless. For example, I want to eat scallion pancake with egg next to school during winter vacation. So I pay $40 in winter vacation that I could eat when I back to school. And when I back to school, I find out it changed for $45 NT. 40 NT can only eat scallion pancake without egg. Give my egg back. And that is inflation. As for why such a sad thing happened, let's go to the next part. Why is inflation happen? It's for the three reasons. First was high cost. Let's use egg as an example. The first, maybe the price egg is gone up, and the second, demand rise. Maybe I need 2 eggs. And the third, government print money. Government print money. The government made the money less valuable. And the free reason like to make the boss increase the price. This time, free reason is the third. Because the government to deal the economic shock of COVID-19, so more money was printed. And how print money save the economic? Let's talk about how inflation affect of economy. Because everyone wants to save your money in COVID-19, and this causes everyone to stop spend, and the company can't get money, and they have no money to give the salaries. Everyone gets pay cut and want to save more money. This is a vicious circle. So the government starts print money. Let's use the egg as scallion pancake again. If I don't want my money can buy scallion pancake with egg, I will spend my money as soon as possible. That break out the vicious circle. From above, we can know the moderated inflation can help economic growth. So what moderate inflation is good? The experts say it's 2% per year. Now let's back to what we said earlier. Your money gets cut in half every 35 years is because this 2%. And to fight inflation, you can put your money in the bank to get interest, or invest it in bond or gold to preserve value. This is my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Let me write the time for you. Okay, so like I promised you, let me make some comments about Pat's presentation. First of all, I think this presentation is prepared very well. I like the topic, Pat, but which one of those criteria from our book is this topic related to? It's not related to any of those things from the book, right? On page. Okay, just your interest. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So one of the criteria is that the topic should be from one of those pages. After midterm, then you will get a chance to do your own topic. So, but the presentation, is this one? Okay. First of all, the PowerPoint is very clear, not busy, not too many words in there, and the first page is very good. So what is required? How many slides in your PowerPoint is a must? All right, keep this in mind, please. There are some PowerPoint slides that is a must. I have to see. One is the first page, which is normal. Everybody has that. That first page has your topic, your name, or anything else you want to mention about yourself here. The topic, if the topic is not very usual, you are welcome to also give a Chinese translation to it. If it's a topic that you think everybody knows, then it's all right. Then, you need to know how to speak that topic, the pronunciation of that topic, or anything related to that very perfectly. So this is inflation. Inflation. You cannot just say whatever else. Right? Because this is the main thing, and you're going to keep talking about it. So it's one mistake, but if you talk about it 10 times, it sounds like 10 mistakes. So just correct one mistake and you're 10 points ahead. So inflation. All right? Now we're good with this PowerPoint. The second thing that I need to see in your PowerPoint, the topic of the PowerPoint should be purpose. I need one PowerPoint slide that says on the top, it says purpose, and you give me one sentence of what is the purpose of your presentation, because we practice so much about that, right? So we need to know what is the purpose of your presentation, and we need to see it. So number 2 is slide. Third is your outline, which you can see here. Yes. This is the outline, and preferably there will be topic says outline, but of course it's also obvious it's outline. If you don't want it, I say put the topic there because you won't forget it. Right? So the title page, purpose, outline. Okay, the beginning, and then blah 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 blah. Your presentation. At the end, there are 2 more slides I need to see there. One is summary. Summary means whatever you just said, you quickly review. And it's very similar to your outline. So you can basically, in the summary, say what is inflation, why we have it, and how we have it in 3 sentences. Then is a conclusion. Conclusion. Conclusion is your own conclusion. Could be something funny, could be your, like he's losing his egg because he's not getting egg with his sandwich, right? So he could have some conclusion for his own, like, he plans to invest his money or do what about inflation, or what should you do about this? So he mentioned something about maybe you should invest your money, maybe you should do some other matters. So 5 slides. First is the first page. Then is purpose. 3 is outline. 4 is summary. 5 is conclusion. Please write these things down so you won't forget next time in your next presentation. 5 slides. 5 slides are what? Cover page, purpose, outline, summary, conclusion. All right, those are the titles of this. Other than that, like I wrote for him, the PowerPoint is very clear and to the point, and again, it's a very nice PowerPoint because we don't need to read so many things, and he describes it well. Of course, he's the first presenter. He's a little nervous, so he go over time because he is nervous. But I think if I wrote for him, if he practiced his presentation good enough, it would be done in 5 minutes, and it's a very, very good presentation. Just that the topic is not really what we have, so make sure your next presentation and the midterm especially is the topic from those pages of the book. It's a very good stuff. Thank you. All right, we go to our next presenter, Michael.
So, good morning people, my name is Michael and I'm currently a senior student at Asia University and I'm currently majoring at Business Management. So, before we start the presentation, let us imagine a little bit. Imagine people who you love, people who you care about, they've met a lot of serious problems that can lead them for a depression moment. And the only way to solve this problem is to kill themselves, to suicide. It's kind of frustrating, right? Because we cannot help them because we don't know this kind of information. So that's why I want to talk about depression. So what is my purpose to tell this presentation? So the main purpose is I want to give you information to know how to deal with this kind of people in our society. So in this presentation, I will divide it into 4 outlines. The first one is, of course, we have to know what is depression. And the second one is, what are the symptoms? And the third one is, how can depression ruin people's lives? And the fourth one, and the most important, is how to encounter these mental health issues. So the first one, what is depression? So as you can see, depression or major depressive disorder is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. So basically it's health mental issues that can affect you, the way you're thinking and the way you act, some kind of like that. And the second one, what are the symptoms? So when you're feeling overwhelming sad and even you always like easily offended, it means maybe you have depression symptoms, maybe. And the second one, you have a loss of interest. For example, if you want to go to work, it's like, I don't want to go to work, and then you don't even want to eat. It's kind of depressing, right? And the third one is, at the most severe cases, they have trouble sleeping. People who have a depression, it's kind of like have difficulty to sleep, and they're intended to eat a lot of medication that they have to need to get sleep. And the fourth one is difficulty thinking. And the last one, and the most dangerous part, is thoughts of death or suicide. So the third one, how exactly can depression ruin people's lives? So as you can see, when people have depression feelings, they cannot lean on people, right? Because they're feeling very lonely. So what they have to do, what are things that they have to lean on. Of course, a lot of things, such as alcohol. It's kind of dangerous, like when you have alcohol addiction, it can lead a lot of serious diseases. And the second one, the most dangerous part is drug addiction, because it's kind of make the depression people like they have accomplished this mission or accomplished their problem, but in reality, they don't like doing problems. And the third one, it can also ruin your relationship between your family, between your friends, and even between your boyfriend or girlfriend. And the fourth one, it can also ruin your works because, like I said before, difficulty thinking. And the fifth one, it can lead to serious sickness because depression people, their body immune intends to decrease a lot. So it can also lead to serious diseases such as heart attacks. It's kind of surprising, right? And again, the most important is it can also lead to suicide. So in the last one, how to encounter these mental health issues? The first one, of course, we need to stay in touch. We have to tell them that you're not alone. We can help you. We are the people that want to hear your stories, and I want to encourage you to face your problems. And the second one is be more active. Like you can make some kind of active productivity. It's like active activities such as going to the organizational activities or hearing some music or eating healthy diet foods. And the third one, and the most important, is face your fears, because in reality, your fears is not like very dangerous feelings, right? And the fourth one, you have a good routine, such as, like I said before, you have a healthy diet, like you're sleeping a lot, and then you've kind of exercise a lot. And the fifth one, if the depression is more dangerous, you can seeking help for depression, such as you can go to the psychologist or you can go to the psychiatrist. So, for the conclusion, if you've met some people in your society and they have a depression, you have to help them, immediately. So, that is my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Michael's presentation, our second presenter. Again, this PowerPoint is very well prepared. We don't have too much words in here. The purpose is clear. So we have the first three elements: the cover page, depression, the purpose, and the outline of that. Right. So we have the four parts in the outline. The first three slides are here. The last two slides are missing. The summary and conclusion is missing. So I'm not going to repeat the same things again. Just remember what is missing in here. And so here is the definition of depression. Again, I think it's too many words in here, because I don't know what is it that I really need to get from this. So I suggest you at least boldface or make it bigger the main things you want us to see from here. So, for example, it's a medical disease. That's the important thing to know, right? So depression is not just a bad attitude, and this is a very good point. I mean, Michael chose a topic that is really affect us. So I would just, for example, take this and make it a little bigger, maybe bold like this, right? So it's a medical illness, right? That's one of the main points, all right? And negatively affects your feeling and how you think. So again, we could say negatively is a word we should emphasize, feel, and think. Well, so it's now a little bit more clear what he wants us to get out of this is a medical illness that negatively affects our feeling and thinking, right? So because you have to make a PowerPoint that jumps at people, means your PowerPoint will do you a favor of touching people's attention and telling them what you want. So you have to look at the PowerPoint and get something. If we don't know what exactly to look for, then we won't read the whole thing, if that makes sense. So that's just a comment on that. The rest of this is pretty well organized and also a little bit over time, but I forget also to write the time for you. It's about 6 minutes and something. Yes. So, but it's a well-prepared, well-practiced presentation. So this topic is from one related to one of the ones in the book. Which one? Is that about depression? We have some topic about depression.
Yes.
Depression, okay. Right. Now, one thing I mentioned to Michael, and I should mention to all of you as well, is to be careful with the English. So depression is a noun, right? To be depressed is the verb. So I am depressed. I don't say I am depression. Right? I am depressed. He is depressed. I have depression. So it's a noun. So be careful in usages of that because sometimes we are a little not clear about that. In just one point I heard the difference. It was something, one minor detail, but we'll just keep that in mind. All right, good job, Michael. Let's go to our next presenter. That will be Kusuma. Where is
Hello all, I am Kusuma Abeleni. I am a master's student in Department of Computer Science and Information Engineering. Do you know Hindu population in India? There are about 1.2 billion people in India. Most are Hindus. Today I would like to share their culture, how they get married. This information will help you to understand Hindu culture marriages when someday you attend Hindu marriages. Today I will be discussing about what is Hindu marriages and the pre-wedding rituals, wedding ceremony, food, and conclude. Hindu weddings are traditionally big, bright, colorful, and they are celebration of love and commitment. Marriages, according to Hindus, believe they are made in heaven, and once you are married, this marriage will be last for 7 lives. That's our belief. And you are wondering, what clothes should I wear for a wedding, Hindu wedding? And I would say the brighter the better, because don't worry about wearing the brightest color you like the most, because everyone will be wearing the bright colors. It's more of jewelry And traditionally, women wear sari, or unmarried women like to wear lehengas. There are many quite variety of options you can wear. And men, I'm sorry to say, but you have limited. When it comes to men, we have so many jewelry and so many much more. But you also have quite options to select from. Pre-wedding rituals. Before starting a wedding, bride and groom's horoscope will be given to the priest, and he will check the auspicious dates to start the ceremony, and also gives us the dates. This calculation is based on Hindu Vedic culture, where they select the time and date, so that if we can, at most we can prevent the evil eye at the event. Then comes engagement. This is where officially both the families come together to exchange and make a written paper for the wedding. This is formally made by families, not exchanging of rings by bride and groom. Before wedding, there will be an event called Haldi. Here, the bride and groom will be having holy water bath by married women. This is a mixture of haldi. Haldi means turmeric, and with oil and water. This is the way of blessing the couple before the wedding. You can wear yellow clothes on that day, so that it will match with the theme of that day. And when it comes to mehendi, mehendi is applied to bride's hands and legs. It is an event with mostly brides at bride's place with her female friends, relatives, and family. Family also apply their hands, celebrating it on that day. Lots of food, music will be also happening in the background, where we get to dance. Wedding ceremony, the muhurtam, it is called as muhurtam, where it's the most auspicious time of the day, where the groom will be tying a sacred yellow thread around the neck of the bride, making 3 knots to the thread. That is where he is taking her as his wife, in front of the family, friends, relatives, everyone. After muhurtam, both groom and bride takes 7 steps around the firework, making 7 vows. They are to grow together, to preserve the wealth, share joy and sorrow, to take care of our family, be together forever, remain lifelong friends, to nourish each other. In some community to community it varies. Some they take 8 circles around the fire. Some communities they take 7 steps around the fire. And we have the last one, Arundhati Nakshatra. It is the groom shows Arundhati and Vasistha stars to bride, where they will be looking at the stars and showing them. They are considered to be an ideal couple. It is said to follow marital fulfillment and also share love as a symbol of that. The best thing about the weddings is food. We get to enjoy quite varieties of delicious food in this event. It's mostly served on the banana leaves. It's the tradition we serve there. And all the food is vegetarian food. On the day of wedding, you don't get to eat a non-vegetarian, but you get many options from fruits and also quite number of vegetables to taste there and sweets. These are some rituals followed in Hindu marriages. They may vary between community to community and place to place because India is a vast country. There are slight differences, but these are the most rituals we follow. Thank you for your attention. I would be happy to answer if you have any questions to know or willing to know about Hindu marriages. Thank you.
Okay, let's take a break, and then after the break, we'll go to Alan. Let's have a short break, and we go to Alan after the break. The last one? Okay, all right. Yes, okay, I understand. Okay, no problem. So, you did good.
The file follows within this folder.
You put your PowerPoint already online?
No, I have.
Yeah, just put it inside this folder, yeah. That is your PowerPoint, right?
Yep.
How come it says depression? Your topic is also depression?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So Judy, then you talked to the teacher last week. Can he help you? Can you? Okay.
Yeah, because I want to have a free time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, then I can decide what I can do.
Okay, yeah. Depends on if you're good to study by yourself, then that's even better. Yeah. Sometimes if we don't go to class, then we just become lazy. We don't.
Yes,
We don't
because it's will let me have more time on Tuesday, not Wednesday.
Okay, good. So you want to prepare for, this is for finding a job? You want to study for a job, or you want to go to
Yes,
for a job?
yes. To prepare I can learn by myself, but maybe like TOEFL, it's the IELTS is not could be learned by myself.
But why do you need to take the exam? For what?
You need to tell me, yes, for job.
For job. So when you want to look for a job, they ask for a TOEIC score.
Yes, if I want to go to the company that is international company. Yeah.
Okay, good. Did you take it before?
Yes.
What did you get?
650.
Okay, so you have a good start, I
Yes,
think.
I have already preparing now. Yes, and there are a lot of information in internet.
Okay.
Yes.
So when is the next exam?
So you need the exam.
For the TOEIC? Yeah. For TOEFL? You want to take TOEIC or TOEFL?
TOEIC.
TOEIC, yeah.
Maybe I will have a test on June.
June.
Yes.
Okay, so there's time to prepare.
Yes.
Okay.
But do you save the information you want me to put on the
No.
trunk?
No, on the trunk class? No, I mean, I was going to send just.
The class you saved last week.
Ah, yes. I actually I did it myself,
Oh,
but you can check. I didn't send you
no.
the file. Uh, you can actually download the file. Also, it's in the trunk class. But I just wanted you to make sure I open the folder for every due assignment that is due. So in that class for the human resource something, there is a file that says due date, something like that, syllabus and due date. You can download them, and then there is a calendar inside that tells like what is due, when.
So you have all.
I opened all the folders, but you can check and see if there is something I missed. So I tried to make all the folders open until the end of the semester, whatever homework is due. And what I forget to send you is my papers to put on the
The website, right?
on the school website, and also I need you to update my MOSD information.
These papers.
Yes. So I will send you those papers, and then you also have my MOSD account.
Not sure if I don't have, can I?
Yeah, ask me. Yeah, text me. I send you my MOSD, so I just need to update the papers in the MOSD and the school website.
But MOST is still the to upload.
No. What I need to do is to update my papers, just like I do for the school. MOSD also, you need to go to my profile or something, information, and see which research I already uploaded there. I think you can find, and then just update whatever is not there.
I will text you online.
Yeah, remind me. Yeah, remind me so I will, because I even wrote a note 3 days before on Friday. I wrote a note, so I come on Monday and he said send things to Judy. She didn't remind me.
Okay. I will reply.
Yeah, he sent me a line and I was more scared. All right, Alan, we are ready. After Alan would be Ian. After Ian would be Kevin H. And then Rena.
Good morning everyone, my name is Alan. Today I am going to talk to you about culture. The purpose of my speech is to discuss the culture of various countries. First, I began to talk about meaning of culture. Culture, the way of life, especially the general customs and beliefs of a particular group of people at a particular time. Culture is complex that includes knowledge, belief, art, laws, morals, customs, and other ability and powers acquired by man as a member of society. Then I will go on to discuss culture of the country. Culture that are usually taken for granted in one or country may be regarded as disrespect or impolite. For in foreign countries, let's take a look at the culture tables of different countries around the world. German countries. German attach the great importance to etiquette, so don't put your hands in your pockets when talking to others. For Germans, this is impolite in addition. When eating, keep your hands on the table, not your knife. Japanese culture. Don't speak in Japan. While some countries have the habit of tea, this is not the case in Japan. The Japanese server industry is notorious corrupt, but if you tip a waiter, it's rude and even insulting to them. And finally, I will focus on Taiwan's culture. The first impression of many foreigners coming to Taiwan is the scooter parked on the roof. And Taiwan is indeed the place with the higher percentage of scooter in the world. The building is not necessarily very good because the scooter parked everywhere take up most of the sidewalk, and some of the careless scooter also cause noise and pollution, affect the seating appearance. The night market has a very unique Taiwan culture, and because of the creativity of many local snacks at one time, the night market has become a must-see for foreigners who come to Taiwan, but its place of food culture. Many night markets cannot be considered hygienic and healthy, nor can they be said to have atmosphere or settlements. These are the places worthwhile to change the culture with creativity. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm here, and I'm delighted to speak to you in this class today. And my speech will take about 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so let's go start. And today my topic is during movies. Understand the duties of the times, a great book. And I will divide my presentation into the 3 parts. So before I start, I have a question for you guys. And you can think about it. And when you pick out a movie, which part do you care about? Is actor, or storyline, or movie technique of the thinking behind. And today, I will show you my feeling from the meaning behind the story. First of all, in the 1960s, African Americans demand the abolition in the racial segregation through a series of demonstrations and affirmative action, and the power to allow African American students to attend classes with the white students. And for African American, to the head point, to the right point. And but in the southwestern, there is so a lot of producers. For example, black are prohibited from communicating with the whites and sharing toilet with the whites and sharing restaurant with the whites. And so therefore, the Green Book is used for travel in the southwestern lunch and a content to introduce which restaurant and toilet and maybe bar in the south are available to the African Americans. So the movie Green Book is also named for this reason, representing the story of the generation. So the movie is mainly about the famous black jazz pianist Tom Sherry in New York, who is going to tell the racially racist stuff. And he had a white driver and bodyguard to accompany him, and his name called Tony Lin. And his job is to make sure safety and make the journey smooth. And they carry a book with a green cover. At the time, in the United States, especially in the southwestern states, race relations are very tense. Along the way, the relationship between the two went from tensions and incomprehensions to mental understanding later. And understanding, that's you. And even in the part, also blow out the discrimination against the black people in the generation. And so now, after the United States President Barack Obama took office, the right for black people are more and more respected. But in recent years, there's still a lot of racial prejudices, resulting in a power imbalance. Not only African Americans, but also Asians, Mexicans, and even Muslims. And this kind of Unicode produced will appear everywhere. In recent years, many movies have described those discrimination in decisions. And I hope that those in unities can be paid attention and improved. Thank you.
Let's go to our next presenter, Kevin H. After Kevin is Vina, and after Vina is Rico, and then Estela.
Good morning, guys. So today I want to tell you guys about the future. So today I want to explain to you guys about virtual reality and all others about this thing. So the purpose I want to give you guys is to tell you about what the future will look like in virtual reality, so the people could knowing and preparing about what will come. So in this presentation, I will explain to you guys about the outline. The outline is divided by three. The VR glass and suit means the use of VR, and the last one is metaverse. So basically, virtual reality is a technology of computer that used to create a simulate environment. So the VR has two tools. The first one is the glass. The glass is the computer technology to create a real look experience on the virtual world. So when you wear it, you can see the virtual world and it's very real. And the second one to make the glass complete is the suit. By using the suit, you also can feel the physical experience, the touch, the weight, or the something like that. So the second point I want to explain to you guys is the use of VR in the future. The use is very lot, but I will explain you guys the daily use of it, like virtual shops or dangerous jobs, healthcare industry, gaming industry, exercise, and this metaverse thing. I will show you guys one of the use of VR for exercise. Yeah, it's like that. So you can exercise, do your workout by using, it's more fun, right? Yeah, and the third point I want to explain is the metaverse. What is metaverse means? Metaverse is network of 3D virtual world focused on the social connection. I want to explain to you guys the one platform on the metaverse things is the Sandbox. The Sandbox is a game on metaverse that built on the Ethereum blockchain. You guys know blockchain? So the Sandbox is like a land. So in the Sandbox, there's a lot of lands. Like you can see the small block, it's count of one land. So by using this land, you could social interact in there with your friends or with your whoever it is. And to build things on the Sandbox, you need to acquire a land. So if you not acquire land, you can build the thing. You just can join others people's land. So, and a lot of big institutions and artists also acquire land on the Sandbox, like HSBC, Adidas, SoftBank, and Snoop Dogg. So I think it's like a promising this metaverse thing. This is the Sandbox teaser if you don't understand about it. So if you interest to acquire land in Sandbox and build in it, it's quite expensive right now. It's like 2.9 Ethereum, or it's like 8,700 US dollar or 260 NT dollars. Yeah, and so the conclusion is, for the future in the virtual world, you can from right now start acquiring virtual assets that I think will be used for the future. Thank you.
So Kevin, what did I want to say about Kevin? All right. So we do have the purpose statement very clear. It's exactly the kind of purpose statement I've been asking for. So I want to tell about the future so that people could get something. So remember, the purpose statement has two parts. One part is what you want, and one part is why we need to listen to you. So you need to put those two parts together, then you have a good purpose statement. What you want to tell us, and why should we listen to you. So that's a good purpose statement. And generally the PowerPoint is good until we got to the sandbox. I don't know, this font size became a lot smaller than we expected. And I'm sorry the video did not play. I don't know if that's a problem from the setup in our computer or what. You can check that later. There is a good video that he shows us, short and sweet. So the video that we saw for the exercise is perfect, not too long, and get to the point and get out. It might seem like, okay, well, I just put the video there, so it's easy, right? I just fill up the time. But to find a good video and to show exactly the time to make an influence is very time consuming. And to have it prepared like that, so that we don't waste our time looking for it. So everything else is pretty good. One thing that you have to be careful, later on in the book we talk about this, it's called, in the book we mention about this, very end of the book, let me tell you where. I'm going to find out where it is. Toward the end, we talk about some of the things that we can do to make our presentation better. And one of the things we talk about is filler words, as in feel, to feel something. Filler words. Filler words are some words that we have in every language, or sometimes it's our way of saying it, that helps us to move on to the next part. For example, when you talk even in a conversation with someone, they might use a filler word like, you know, and they'll say, you know. Or maybe some people will say, like, you know, I want to go there like, and then another like. Okay, all right. So those are filler words. Or in Chinese, for example, we'll be saying like, jega, or nega, right? Those filler words are okay if you don't use them too often. If you use them too often, then it becomes distracting to the audience. So for example, for Kevin's example, his filler word was so. So I heard the word so many times in the beginning of every slide. So you have to be careful with some of your filler words. Now sometimes we have those filler words because we are a little nervous. Because those filler words are comfort words. We kind of feel comfortable. So we keep saying them. So you just have to be a little careful with that. But the presentation was good. And since this comes up, I just tell you, and I find a page about that in the book. Let's go to our next presentation. Nina?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lina. I'm studying in Department of Business Administration, and I have the same topic with Kevin. And today I'm going to introduce the word virtual reality. Before I start, I have some questions to ask you. Do you know what is virtual reality? If you know, then it's well. And if you don't know that, don't worry. I'll tell you all about the virtual reality as I know. The purpose of my presentation is to tell you guys what is virtual reality and how useful it will apply in our future, and we need to prepare it for our future. First, I'll tell you about the virtual reality's definition, and then virtual reality applies to where and how they will apply. And the last one is the future of virtual reality. First of all, I want to tell you virtual reality's definition first. Virtual reality is use the computer to imitate and come a three-dimensional space, offering users about the visual imitate, to let users feel they are in the same place with immediately without restriction to observe in three-dimensional space. When users move, the computer will do the complex operation immediately and send back the precise image in three-dimensional space to bring a feel. Second, the virtual reality is applied in law, healthcare, teaching, education, architecture, and social science. In healthcare, it could apply in objective structure clinical examination, which we call it OSCE. And it also helps students to learn, teachers to teach, medical staff training, etc. It can raise the efficiency of studies and quality of medical. In education, when teachers are teaching students geography, virtual reality can show them the real terrain which is imitated. And in science class, teachers can guide students to do experiments. Rather than pets, teachers are all afraid of harmful substances that students can do the experiments, and we also can interact to someone in virtual reality. In architecture, it is the best of both worlds. Before the building be built, we need an architecture to draw the blueprint, and it will take them a lot of time to do it. But if they use virtual reality devices, it can save the time to draw the blueprint and estimate costs accurately. When the blueprint finished, architecture, engineer, interior designer, contractor, and client can put on VR device to go to that place and discuss the material, technique, design, etc. All of them are winners, especially clients. In social science, some scholars are search deeper to find the theory of intimacy relationship. They think human beings are all need a company in any age. And if you feel lonely, then you can use virtual reality to accompany you. That you won't feel lonely anymore. The scholars also found that intimacy relationship can support yourself. It is not only ease straight information, but also increase the challenge. And overall, this theory of intimacy relationship offered a variety, foreground, and profound influence, especially in this rapid changing digital society. And the end of my presentation is the future of virtual reality. It will apply in anywhere. In recently, the issue of metaverse drives the heat of virtual reality, and COVID makes the digital transformation. Virtual reality also needs to cooperate with metaverse, because metaverse is a virtual reality too. It is more widely to be used in everywhere and at any time you want. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mina. Okay, let's go to Rico. So Rico, Estela, Kelly, and then Kevin, and Jaya. Anybody else? I didn't get the paper from. Okay.
Hello, my name is Rico. I am a third-year student in the Faculty of Business Administration. Today, I'm going to talk to you about tragedies. Recently, the coronavirus is going around, and I often see the prejudice caused by coronavirus. And the reason I chose this topic was because I want you to think about prejudice again and abolish it as much as possible. And my presentation is divided into 4 parts: definition, example, influence, and conclusion. First, I explain the meaning of prejudice. Prejudice means that an unfair and unreasonable opinion or feeling. Next, I will give some examples of the prejudice we usually have in daily life. Men are better suited to be leaders than women, and old people are not good at computers. Japanese always flatters everybody. The final example, Japanese always flatter everybody, the prejudice I actually suffered recently. And it is that true. Japanese often say compliments, but not everyone does. Here, let's see that these 2 words. One is sexual harassment and household. I will give you 5 seconds. Please image these words. I guess most people image just like this picture. Men sexually harass women, not women sexually harass men. Housekeeper is woman, not man. This is the one of the prejudice, unconscious prejudice. Third is influence. Bias and prejudice lead to discrimination and violence. So our unconscious prejudice is one of the main causes of discrimination and violence. Finally, so why the prejudice exists? My conclusion is this. The prejudice is caused by lack of knowledge and experience. So I think it is important to gain experience and acquire knowledge. Thank you for listening.
Give it short. All right, let's go to Stella.
Good morning, I'm Stella. Today I'm going to talk to you about anorexia nervosa. And my presentation will last about 5 minutes. The purpose of my presentation is to let people here to have a clear ideas about anorexia nervosa and how to cope with it. So if you know who suffer from this illness, you can help them. In my presentation, we'll divide it into 3 parts. First, I'd like to talk about the definition of anorexia nervosa, then the symptoms of anorexia nervosa, finally, I will tell you the therapy of anorexia. Anorexia nervosa, often simply called anorexia, is an eating disorder characterized by abnormally low body weight, an intense fear of gaining weight, and distorted perception of weight. People with anorexia place a high volume of controlling their weight and shape using extreme efforts that tend to significantly interfere with their lives. The symptoms of anorexia include physical and emotional and behavioral symptoms. The physical signs and symptoms include things appearance, abnormal blood counts, insomnia, fatigue, and so on. And for the emotional and behavioral aspect, signs and symptoms may include severely restriction, blood intake into dieting or fasting, exercising excessively, frequently skipping meals or refusing to eat, not wanting to eat in public, flat mood, irritability, reduced interest in sex, and so on. If you or someone you know has these symptoms and they seriously interfere with your daily life, please ask for help because it's an extremely unhealthy and sometimes life-threatening way to try to cope with emotional problems. When you have anorexia, you often equal thinness with self-worth. It can take over your life and can be very difficult to overcome, but with treatment, you can gain to overcome. Return to healthier eating habits and reverse some of anorexia serious complications. And because many people with anorexia don't want treatment, they desire to remain thin, overrides concern about their health that can make treatment difficult. But there are still some methods to therapy individuals, help them overcome anorexia nervosa. Individual, family, and group therapies are often an integral part of treatment. First, individual therapy is a form of therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy. It helps people learn to cope with strong emotion and build healthy self-esteem. Then family therapy gets family members involved in keeping you on track with your healthy eating and lifestyle. Last, group therapy allows people with anorexia to interact with those who have the same disorders. Finally, I want to tell you, many people recover from anorexia. So if you know someone who has anorexia, don't give up and don't be depressed. Just help them and seek professional therapy when necessary. Recovery is not difficult. Thank you.
I just forget to mention something about Rico. Rico has very good PowerPoint. The only thing I mentioned to her is that every word in here is capitalized. except conclusion. So I just want to make sure that I wrote it for you, but I don't know if you understand what I mean. So make sure that you are consistent with capitalization when you write it. But this PowerPoint is very clear and to the point. So that is only comment I had. Let's go to our next presenter. And by the way, the filler words I was talking about is on page 92 of your book. It's not really in the end, it's in the chapter 4. At the end of chapter 4 talks about the filler words. So that's what it's on. Okay, let's go to Kelly.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly. First, I want to apologize to everyone because of my face is allergic, so I can take off my hat. And today, I'm going to introduce the word colony. The purpose of my presentation today is let everyone know the word colony better. And next time someone mentions this word can help you know what is its meaning clear. I have divided my presentation into 3 parts. First is what is cloning. Second, positive and negative of cloning. And last, where can it use? First of all, this is scholarship. The first creature created from cloning technology. You may be curious, what is cloning? Cloning is a process of generating a genetically identical copy of a cell or an organism. In other words, cloning is a plant or animal that has the same gene as the original from which it was produced. That occurs in nature when organisms such as bacteria, insects, or plants reproduce asexually. I'm sorry. And next is positive and negative. They have 3 positive aspects of cloning. First, clone animals are used for processing drugs. Being genetically identical, they are more predictable and cost-effective to test on. Second, meat and milk from cloned cattle were ruled safe for consumption by FDA in 2008. Third, cloning can be used to build up the population of endangered or even fully extinct animals if we have sufficient DNA. Animals with personal significance like pets can also be cloned with animal cloning. The other one is negative aspect of cloning. Number 1 is reproductive. Cloning is very inefficient at the moment as many resulting animals don't reach adulthood. And 2 is one of the strongest arguments against cloning is about its ethical concern. Like some other cloning types, there's an ethical debate around cloning animals, whether it's bringing back dead animal or replicating your pet. The question of should we do this is always one that looms over this scientific advancement. Despite being genetically identical with each other, clones will be not the same regarding behavioral attributes. Aside from that, their similarities regarding physical appearance are not guaranteed. Finally, I'm going to introduce where can cloning use. The first use is for medical. Currently, cloning technology can be used to create tissue or replace injured to diseased tissues. It also can fix a damaged spinal cord or insulin-making cells to treat defects. The other one is saving endangered animals. We can use cloning technology to continue the next generation for endangered animals. In future, cloning might bring back extinct species like woolly mammoth or giant panda. After all, I want to ask everyone a question. Is cloning good for human or it will cause some damage? Thanks for listening.
Let's go to Kevin.
Can I start?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Tanjaya. I'm a bachelor student at Asia University, and today I'm going to talk about depression. So, let me start with this. As a human being, we all tend to feel sad and gloomy sometimes, right? And then as our lives continue to go on day by day, we all somehow manage to cope with it. That sad and gloomy feelings had eventually become one with us. And then one day, a friend of yours suddenly asks you questions regarding about your feelings. How is your feeling right now? And then you answer it with, oh, maybe I'm in depressed. Oh, maybe I'm in depression. And then you both started to laugh. Well, I want to tell you that maybe you are really in a state of depression, but you just don't know it, or you don't want to know about it. Because you want to avoid the feeling of shameness you need to face when you are diagnosed with depression. That's why we decided to laugh. Well, this is sad but true, but there is a probability that you are in a state of depression. Statistics by World Health Organization show that there are about 280 million people who are diagnosed by depression in the world, whereas 86 million of them are from the region of Asia. But you see, the number here is still remain a mystery, right? Because this is the number for person or people who talk to the psychiatry that they are in a state of depression. Where there is still a lot of people out there who don't know that they are in depression or don't want to know that they are in a state of depression. Just because of this thing. Because we tend to see depression as something that is abnormal and unacceptable for a person to have. And that is a problem that we need to solve in order to make a better society without depression. So, my purpose of this presentation is to give you a deeper understanding about depression and to change your perspective about depression so that we can see depression as some kind of illness, just the same as your physical illness. There's nothing to be ashamed of it. Okay? So, this presentation will last about 5 minutes. I will talk about the symptom of depression and how to deal with depression. Okay, let's start with the first section. I'm going to talk about the difference between sadness and depression because people often misunderstood or confused about this. Sadness is when you feel something that is considered as unpleasant, but you know the reason for it. Let's say you just lose a basketball competition and then you feel sad, but you know the reason why you feel sad, which is the fact that you are losing the basketball competition. Whereas depression is when your mind feels something that is irritating, but you don't know the reason for it. Let's say you just sitting in the couch in the middle of the day, and then you feel your mind suddenly getting irritating, but you don't know the reason for it. That is depression. Sadness doesn't last longer than 2 weeks, whereas depression is a long-term mental illness. It disturbs your functioning in daily life, from social area, occupation area, and many other areas that you consider as a pleasant thing to do, but not anymore. Whereas sadness doesn't disturb your functioning in your daily life. So, according to DSM-5, this is the symptom of depression, or you can call it PSYCH-S. S for sleep disturbance, I for interest decrease, G G for guilt or feeling of worthless, E for energy decrease, C for concentration problem, A for appetite or weight change, P for psychomotor agitation, means when you knocking on your table simultaneously without any reasonable cause, that is also the symptom of depression. And the last one, S for suicidal thoughts. Okay, let's move on to the next section about how to deal with depression itself. First, you need to know whether you are experiencing sadness or depression, because sadness are more easy to treat than depression itself. Some lifestyle changes can help you cope with the sadness that you are experiencing, like regular exercising, healthy diet, proper sleep, social activities, and healthy friendship. This kind of lifestyle changes can only make you feel better when you are in a state of depression. You cannot fully recover from a depression if you only do this. So my best solution for you guys, if you want to actually fully recover from a depression, is counseling and psychotherapy. Yeah, that is my best solution for you. Counseling and psychotherapy has a lot of benefits for you who are experiencing depression. It can help you better understand treatment option. It can help you identify the patterns of your emotion. It can help you discuss about your past experience with a developmental focus. It can help you have a great self-acceptance and self-esteem because you finally taking care about yourself. And finally, it can help you relieve from depression. So, but there is a problem right here. There is a lot of common misconception about counseling itself, because we tend to think depression as something that is abnormal and unacceptable for a person to have. So when we deciding whether or not we want to go to the counseling, we tend to think like this: if I need help, something must be wrong with me, so I must be broken or abnormal. Or no one will understand my problem, so I don't deserve any help. Or if I just try harder, I won't need any treatment. Or the most common one is people will think less of me if I seek help. So this is the problem that arose because we tend to have a mindset that depression is something that is abnormal and unacceptable for a person to have. If we have this kind of mindset, then we will not cure from the depression 100%. We need to think depression as some kind of illness, just the same as your physical illness, that also need to be treated. Thank you for listening.
Okay, let me see, did I miss anyone? So, Ben is not here. What happened to our Ben? And then Dennis, Vicky. So, Dennis, Ben, Vicky, Ray, not here. Kenyan, not here. Tony, Hubert, Kelly. Kelly? So let me make sure I gave you the right grade. Then I have to Kelly, right? So Kelly, what's your number? Which one is you? This is you. Check. This is not you. So your last name is John. All right, Joseph and okay. So now, I think in order to, for me, I think I just need to add something here to Kevin's presentation. In fact, the point he presented is very interesting. His presentation is a little long, but everything else is very good. In fact, for those of you who are here, I have to say I agree with Kevin. Most of the time we think of depression as, especially in Asian countries, we think of something shameful. And if we told our parents that, I feel depressed, they try to ignore that and say, well, go figure it out. or they don't want you to see a doctor because of that. However, as he mentioned, you can think of depression as just a cold, like you catch a cold and you go take medicine and you get well. Depression is the easiest mental problem that can be fixed. But if you did not take care of it, it can lead to a life of pain. Not only your life, but in the future your husband or wife, and then your children. So you will destroy many people's lives. And finally, of course, yourself will be the one that gets hurt the most. So if you know someone or you have seen this situation, you can be more open about this to your friends and mention it. All right, very good. Somebody's mask is left here, so remember to take your mask. Let's take a break, and then after the break, I'm going to talk to everyone individually here about your proposal. And after I finish talking to you, you're free to go. Do you have any questions? So I think we had a pretty good start of presentation. This is your first full presentation, and it's very good. Okay, don't worry about the grades. I have to tell you what I'm looking for. Next week we have another one. If your grade next week is better than this one, I will change this grade to next week. So your next week presentation, now you can see all those circles. You can mention, and if you don't understand what I wrote, because I write very quickly and not easy, sometimes I cannot even read what I write. That's why I use the circle one. If you have some question about what I wrote, please come ask me. In conclusion about presentation, again, remember, next week presentation, we need to have those 5 slides topics. The first page, the purpose, the outline, the summary, and the conclusion. Just have to be in there. And so everything else I already have mentioned. Let's take a short break, and then we'll talk about your proposals, and then we're done. I want to show you, I think you already have some idea what to do, but this is a PowerPoint of your classmate. He had made to talk about culture, and this is how it looked. I've prepared this to show you. So this PowerPoint, you can change it to look like this. So instead of having those, most of the time again I talk about the font size. So you can see what we did in here is just take away those little fonts and then put up, make it a little bit clear, not much time consuming. And then this part, I mentioned to some of you, this is like you wrote too many things in there. So how to change that? This is how we could change it. For example, it's the same content, but when you look at it, you know exactly, we talk about the culture and countries, because it's unique characteristics, and because it can affect the whole world sometimes. So it's about the culture. And again, another slide about culture variation. Again, if you just copy and paste something here, it's difficult to say, but you can easily just change that to this topic. Differences in similarity, differences among regions, and unique cultural similarities. So because he didn't come, I thought I will use this as a sample to show you how you can make a PowerPoint a little bit. It just takes time. So just to make this to the other one, it took me about half an hour this morning to just change the two or three slides. So it takes time, but once you put the time in it, it's really worth your effort. So keep that in mind. We do not have much problem with the PowerPoint, it's just the font that some of you still not following the font size. Otherwise, everything is pretty good. All right. So let's see. Alan? All right, so your topic is the culture, so it's the same thing. You you plan to do the same thing you did? This is what you did today, right? Okay. All right. Okay, that's clear, and to the point. I think the format is good also. Now, like I said, if you want to change your topic for the midterm, you can. You don't have to do this one. I just wanted you to have some idea and start early thinking about it. Next week you will make a presentation, another one, and then you can see which topic you like better, right? Do you have any questions about the comments I made for your presentation? You understand? All right, thank you. Then we're done. Kevin Tanjaya. All right, Kevin, it's a pretty good format you followed. You are going to talk, maybe you're going to talk the next week, maybe that's what you're going to do? Religion culture? Or you're going to do,
I want to do
different every time? Okay, good. So what's going to be next week?
still
Haven't decided, okay. All right, so any question about my comments in the presentation? I wrote on the paper. Okay, bring your paper, great, so we can talk about anything I may not write clearly. Interesting. I said you have interesting points. You have prepared well, you presented well, this is a very good introduction. You answered this one and it's a little bit too long. Yeah, so, yeah. Good job. Michael? All right, Michael, so you plan maybe to do the same for the midterm. What are you going to do next week?
I already qualitative or content.
Okay, yeah, see what you do next week, and then if you have any question about, or if you have a second talk, you want to change this one, not a problem.
I think that my points is a lot, because I think that my points is
A little long, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, so you have a good introduction, all right? And I forget, how much was it, 7 minutes something, I said? Yeah. So what you can do is you need to, if you want to do the same presentation, you need to shorten some of the areas. So you talk about so many points, and maybe you can mention it there in your PowerPoint, but you don't need to go into detail in some of them. Yeah? So again, because of the time, I'm just going to talk about one or two. Yeah, so generally also prepared pretty good, but then remember to include those two slides. And yeah, so see what you're going to do next week.
Okay, thank you.
Looking forward to it. Kevin Noriadi. So, why don't you capitalize your last name? Right, and so news, okay. You can talk about news or filtering news?
Filtering what is that, which one is the real news and which one is...
Yeah, very good. Okay, any question on this one? So you understand what I mentioned here?
Yeah.
And you watch your video later, you can hear yourself. And just this one, like I said, when you get to the sandbox, the font size suddenly become, and I didn't hear a hook, right? Did you have a hook? You probably didn't have a hook, but here you already decided what kind of a hook you're going to have. Okay. All right, thanks, Kevin. Good job. Okay, Ray is not here, so. Let's go to Vina. Write your English name next time. I can find you faster. Okay, have a seat. So you plan to talk about mass gifts. So maybe next week you think we should talk about this one. Okay, all right, and definition and so on. The purpose is then you okay. Yeah, very good. Very good. Very good. Purpose. Let me see in here. Do you understand the things I say here? The timing is good. Okay, so you prepare well, but you just keep reading. Right? Practice. Yeah, yes. So that's gonna make it. If you practice more, then because your pronunciation is good enough, but when you read, then all of these problems happen. Right? So all of this circle is because you don't have eye contact. Because you read, your intonation is weak because you read, right? So, because the more circle in here, the more points you will deduct. What was it? Yes, but it's, first of all, then you need to say it in a way that sounds like a attention getter, but it's not a really good attention getter. You know what would be a good attention getter? Because what is virtual reality actually? Because we just had a presentation, so we could, right? So maybe people know what is virtual reality. But like, you know, he had a little video, I think I forgot to tell him, he could use that video, you could use such a video, just like a few seconds or 10 seconds, as your hook. So like somebody playing a game or some science. What do you think about this kind of exercise? So that's just a speech, that would be the hook. Right? So that's why I didn't catch the hook, even if you say that it's not the hook. So yes. Practice, but see when you read, then you sound like. So vary your pace. Means sometimes you speak faster, and then sometimes you speak slower, right? And then vary your intonation. Is that sometimes we speak louder, or sometimes we speak lower, or if you have a question, for example, we say, "How do you do?" Right? How do you do? Right? If I say something, it's a nice day today. Right? So this kind of intonation. But when you read, all of this can be destroyed because you only pay attention to what you're reading. So no problem. I think you practice it more. Maybe next week also you will have not enough time. But if you start earlier, now you know how to prepare. So definitely for the midterm you will have more practice. But it's good. You did good. Good first presentation, practice more, and you have to prepare. That's all right. Sure. Let's go to Stella. Also bring your ready paper. Okay, so you think you might do the same for the midterm, maybe? Okay, all right. So let's see. See what we can do here. So the hook. You didn't have one. I haven't think of. So you know what we could use as a hook actually to read your topic is anorexia nervosa. Yeah. So you could use some like picture of the women who look very skinny. There's so many very scary. I've seen the picture. Huh? Yeah, but that's the attention getter. right? You want to talk about this is a problem, right? You have to catch people's attention with some kind, or you can look at the statistics maybe, but the pictures will work a lot better if you just show some very disgusting pictures of some women or men, I don't know, but most of the time, good PowerPoint, because there's no reading, right? So your timing is very good, and so if you stop reading, then all of these problems will go away. Because all of these problems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems, it's because you didn't practice enough. Yeah. So I think you know where the problem is. Do you have any questions? Okay, all right. So looking forward to your next week presentation. All right. Pat? Okay, Pat. Also, this is not the topic of the book, right? Yes. You know what are we talking about? Which page? Okay, yeah. So you can do all of this topic after midterm, because after midterm you will have your own, choose your own topic, right? So choose the topic for the midterm that would be from that page, and also when you do next week, you know how to choose. You could relate it to some of those. For example, here we're talking about okay, yes. So if you want to talk about something like not really social network, if you want to talk about something electronic, yes, yeah, this is very interesting. Actually, some of the topics can be very interesting. I think you can present it well. You prepared good today, and you were the first presenter, so I know you were more nervous. But you didn't look nervous. If you didn't say I'm nervous, I wouldn't know at the beginning. So you should tell yourself that you are not nervous. And so remember, if you're going to use the word, you have to know the pronunciation very well. How to say that? Inflation. And so just use that. You need a slide for purpose. Otherwise, very good example. I really like the examples you gave. This is very in touch with the audience, right? And then you're very funny. I want my egg back. And I thought that was really funny. So I think next week your presentation is going to be very interesting. Yeah. Do you have any question for me? And your timing is because you didn't practice enough, because you're still trying to remember something. So it doesn't go very smooth, it comes slow. Yeah, if you practice it, then I think the time is going to be correct. Did you practice this at home? And it was 5 minutes? Second. So yeah, you should practice the presentation so it will be 4.5 minutes, because it's 4 to 5 minutes, right? So if you practice the presentation that is about 4.5 minutes at home, then it's a little bit short, a little bit long, then you still say. Yeah. All right, good job. And if you'd like to change this topic, you need to give me another one next week. You can just send it to line or send my email. Yeah. All right, let's go to Kelly.
Can we go?
Yeah, we are done. You can do it if you wish. Yes.
Thank you.
If I already talked to you, you feel free to go or do what you want to. I'll see you next week. We are finished with the class. So, all right, so this is the topic about dating. All right. And the purpose, which is rendezvous of dating in Taiwan. And rendezvous is Is it like an app or is it like what you mean rendezvous updating?
It's the yes, you can
Is the place?
like can be somewhere you can eat, somewhere you can watch the
Scenery.
yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, interesting. Good. So, yeah, this is fine. So this probably next week you will do this one or you think so? So let's see in here then.
I don't remember the book.
Yeah. So be careful with the font size. So here it says the PowerPoint font size must be at least 32.
First,
Yeah, so let's see. This is your PowerPoint. Alright, so here, for example, this font size this is 18. Right, it should be at least 32. So you need to change this to 32. Right, and everything else also here. Again, this is too many words, just like I was saying. So you want to see which one is 좀 in Chittanani, and the other one is not so important, so you can have it and thing. So this is just a problem. And I didn't hear the hook. Did you have a hook?
yeah, just the wish,
What was it?
the shoe.
Yeah, I don't think that really, I think would work. I think you can talk about like, what do you think if there is two of you? Something like that though. Because there's a movie, right? There's a movie about the person who keeps cloning himself, right? Yeah, you could even have a picture of that movie or say, how do you think if you were the person in this movie maybe some classmates? Or you can say, hey, how do you guys think about if there was three of you doing the work? Isn't it interesting? And one person can go to class, one person can go have fun, and something like that. And so that would be more attention. So this is your hook. No, this is a good title page. No, can I take your hook? I thought this one is a hook, like, you know. So, why Dolly sheep? Why is this a hook? Dolly sheep. Ah. So you should then talk more about this one. Now I remember, yes. But so you should mention about this a little bit more. If something was in the news, right? And you can just write a little piece of news in here and say, oh, do you remember in like, I don't know what year it is, 2000, I don't know, 18 or 2020, I'm sorry, 2020 or 2018. Do you remember we talked about this other shit?
It is
so maybe 4 years or 5 years. Yeah. So you need to bring us to the memory because I remember now that you mentioned, but you should make that clear to us. Do you remember? Do you know what this picture is, for example? Do you remember Dolly Shiva? Well, let me tell you Dolly Shiva. Just a few sentences, then we can say, okay. Let me go for it. Okay. So let's see your next week presentation, and now you know how to prepare it. Okay. Good job. All right.